Lesson 8 of our virtual piano lessons series. Today, we'll talk about a very important topic in music theory called key signatures and discuss some of the theory behind scales. Let's get started. So far, we have talked about a few different hand positions in scales, namely C, D, F, and G. But these are not just hand positions, they are keys. A key is the set of notes that a certain piece of music is written in, and it is usually named after the root of the key. For example, the key of C has C as the root position, and the key of D has D as the root position. Each key has a unique number of sharps or flats in it. C has 0 sharps or flats. G has 1 sharp, F sharp. D has 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. And F has 1 flat, B flat. There are 12 major keys that we will go over, although we won't be playing in all of them, since some are much more complicated than others. But first, we need to discuss how we are able to quickly tell keys apart, and that is through key signatures. A key signature is not something that we have come across yet, but it is found between the clef symbol and the time signature. Here's an example. The key signature lists all of the sharps or flats that are in that key. Because each key has a unique number of flats or sharps, we are quickly able to tell which key it is. This particular key is E flat. If there are no sharps or flats written in here, then we assume the key is C. So now let's go over all of the major keys. First, we have C. As we already know, this key has 0 sharps or flats. Next, we have G. G has 1 sharp, F sharp. Next, we have D. D has 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Next, we have A. A has 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Next, we have E. E has 4 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Finally, we have B. B has 5 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. So those are all the keys that use sharps, but we also have another set of major keys that use flats. First, we have F. F has 1 flat, B flat. Then we have the key of B flat. B flat has 2 flats, B flat and E flat. Then we have the key of E flat. E flat has 3 flats, B flat, E flat, and A flat. Then we have the key of A flat. A flat has 4 flats, B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. Next, we have the key of D flat. D flat has 5 flats, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and G flat. Finally, we have the key of G flat. G flat has 6 flats, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and C flat. Here are the keys summarized in a chart called the circle of fifths. It shows how keys build on one another and how they are actually all connected. I have listed some additional resources below that give some hints on how to memorize the order of key signatures and how to quickly tell what the key is just by looking at the key signature. You may have noticed by now that there is an order to which sharps or flats are added to a key signature. Sharps are added in this order: F, C, G, D, A, E, and B. And flats are added in the opposite order: B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Check out the additional resource I have linked below to get some hints on how to memorize these orders. Here's an important point about key signatures. When there are flats or sharps written into a key signature, then those notes must be played, sharp or flat, for the entire piece, unless a natural sign is placed in front of the note. For example, this piece has a C sharp and an F sharp in its key signature, meaning it's in the key of D. In measure 1, we have an F, and because there is an F in the key signature, we would play this F as an F sharp, like this. But then in measure 3, we have a natural sign placed in front of the F, so we would play it as a regular F. Let's play some examples that use different key signatures. What key is this example written in? It's in the key of E flat because there are 3 flats in the key signature. Make sure that all B's are played as B flat, all E's are played as E flat, and all A's are played as A flat. Let's play this example. Make sure that your hand position covers an E flat, an F, a G, an A flat, and a B flat. 1, 2, ready, play. B flat, A flat, E flat, B flat, A flat, E flat. And one more time. 1, 2, ready, play. Here's another example. What key is this example written in? It's in the key of A because there are 3 sharps in the key signature. Make sure that you are playing F sharps, C sharps, and G sharps. Let's play this example. Make sure that your hand position is covering an A, a B, a C sharp, a D, and an E. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, play. 1 and 2 and C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, and one more time. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, play. Now let's talk a little more about the theory behind scales that go along with each key signature. We've already talked about and played some scales, but there are ways to figure out what the scale is for any other key signature that we haven't played yet. You can figure out the scale of any of these keys by just remembering which sharps or flats are in that key. However, you can also figure out any scale by following a pattern of whole and half steps. Beginning on the root of the key, you follow this pattern. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. I'll demonstrate how this works with the C major scale. Beginning on the root C, you move up 1 whole step, another whole step, a half step, a whole step, a whole step, a whole step, and finally a half step. So let's use this strategy to figure out a scale of a key we've never practiced before, the A major scale. So we'll begin on an A, play a whole step, a B, then another whole step, a C sharp, then a half step, a D. Next we'll move up another whole step, an E, then another whole step, an F sharp, another whole step, a G sharp, and finally a half step back to A. You can keep using this technique to learn the scales for every major key. Scales are a very important part of piano playing because so many pieces use scales as part of their melodies, and the technique you develop while playing scales helps you with the crossing over technique that is present in many pieces. Our last exercise this lesson will be Funeral March by Chopin, who you will learn more about in this module's history lesson. There are no sharps or flats in the key signature, so we don't need to worry about playing in a complicated key signature. The left hand is not in a perfect 5-finger position, but it only alternates between 2 chords the entire piece. The right hand begins with a hand position that starts on an A, and then in the 11th measure, you jump down so that your 5th finger is on an A, and then you'll finish the piece from there. We'll also have to pay attention to the slurs and dynamic markings. Take a minute to look this piece over, and then we'll play it together. 1, 2, ready, play. Quiet. A little bit louder. Loud. Quiet. Loud again. One more time, you can reset your hand. A little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, play. Before we conclude, here are a few hints for this module's post-video exercises. Exercise 5 shows a treble clef in both the right and left hands. That just means that your left hand will be playing up in the range that your right hand normally would be playing, and you would read the notes exactly like you are used to reading them in the treble clef. So for example, the first measure that your left hand plays in the treble clef begins with your second finger on an E. Another thing you'll come across are a few exercises labeled sight reading. This means that you should try to play the piece after only looking it over for a minute or two, so that you are reading the music sort of on the spot. These are good to practice every once in a while because it helps develop your reading skills. If you want more review on any of today's topics, please check out the additional resources I've linked below. As always, make sure to practice the post-video exercises and complete the theory worksheet, history lesson, and quiz before moving on to the next module. See you next time!